Mr. Sam Harvey, so good to have you here. Why don't you let us know a little bit about who you are and what you're up to?
Yeah, well, I'm a pastor of a vineyard church in the Hawke's Bay. I've been in full-time ministry for 21 years, but my dad's an Anglican vicar, so I've been in church world my entire life. And yes, 6 years ago we planted a church here in Napier, and kind of out of that journey, we really began to prioritize prayer as a kind of core focus
Mm.
for our church. And then out of that, a whole lot of things happened that saw me involved with this wonderful organization, 24/7 Prayer, which you are also a part of now, which is a prayer, mission, and justice movement that's been going for 25 years. And again, it puts its pom-poms out cheering on the church to engage with prayer, mission, and justice initiatives. And so, yeah, that's a big part of my life now. And
Yeah.
something we're very passionate about.
Yeah. I can join you in that. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jacinda, and I have the pleasure of working with Sam. I'm also a local pastor, but up here in Auckland, hence the Zoom format for this conversation. And I think we've both been captured by this whole heart of pursuing God in prayer over the years, and 24/7 has been a really significant part of both our journeys in that. So tell me a little bit more about what the heart is behind the Pentecost Prayer Initiative that we are kind of got our pom-poms out for May. It's starting on the 9th of May and runs for 10 days.
Mm.
Tell us a bit more about what's behind that.
Yeah, when we started kind of really focusing on building, a presence of 24/7 in New Zealand, that was sort of one of our early ideas was, wouldn't it be cool to go back to the original prayer room? The church was birthed out of 10 days of night and day prayer. It says that they're praying constantly, and there's something about night and day prayer, about establishing prayer rooms, that's just, I think it's a way that we as churches can engage with quite radical prayer in terms of night and day prayer, but in a way that is super achievable. Just about any church can set up a prayer room. And so we're encouraging people to engage with this idea of praying into the day of Pentecost, because you don't have to be some genius theologian to kind of work out. It's been pretty tough sledding in the church for a while. And in spite of, all the information that we've got about how to run church well, I mean, we live in an age where we can just do all these seminars, learn how to run church really well, but we're kind of witnessing like the decline in the Western church in lots of ways. And so kind of going, well, how about we put prayer, like really see that crank up as a priority in our churches. And this is one way that we can do that. We can unite together and pray night and day. And there's lots of different ways. We'll talk about that in a second around how that could look for people. They don't necessarily have to, in some little church, be praying night and day for 10 days. But there are churches doing that around the country, which is really cool.
Yeah. I think both of us have had conversations about just the struggle that there is around prayer, both personally, like most people you talk to don't really feel like they've got this thing nailed. And certainly as churches and leading churches, it's a place of often real challenge to be able to, see that grow in our churches. So this is going to really help, catalyze prayer within our churches, and there's the joy of knowing that we're partnering with churches all around the country praying at the same time, which is really cool. So if people are thinking, yeah, okay, I'm curious about this, how would they go about getting involved?
We've got a bunch of information on our website, so if people go to 247prayer.nz, it will there's a whole bunch of stuff there that could help, but I think there is a sense where there is a need for a conviction of prayer. Like, this is something we want to have as a priority in the culture of our church. And as you rightly pointed out, it's probably the most contested space for church culture and for individuals. We live with $1 trillion, what Paul would call a principality and power, distracting us. We live in this entertainment kind of attention economy. And so it is a fight. There's a sense of having to fight for this. But once there is that sense of conviction, like, hey, actually, we want to be a praying people, then it's a matter of just working out how that looks. Again, there's a grace on this. So it's not like you have to do what other churches are doing or whatever. There's a sense of, okay, so what does it look like for us to be involved? And so some churches are just running 24 hours, or even some maybe just a day. So they're creating a prayer room where people can go and pray and join in with this initiative just for a shorter sort of time. Other churches that are a bit larger or have a more established prayer culture are doing the full 10 days. But the thing that we're really excited about is that churches are also uniting together to cover those 10 days, which is what we're doing here in the Hawke's Bay with one central prayer room, but a whole lot of churches covering those hours over those 10 days, praying night and day into the day of Pentecost. And so we've got resources that help you with all the pragmatic stuff around how to set up a prayer room, how to register people, how people can sign up, all those sorts of things. But also we've got a small team volunteering their time. And so we'd love to support you if you've got questions and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, I know. I've got. I'm the one often answering those emails, and we've got people starting to like ask a whole lot of questions. Like if they're a small church, or we've got church plants who actually don't have a building, and so they're trying to figure out how to do virtual prayer rooms. And so there's like lots of creative ways, that we can engage in. There's no. I think there's the freedom to tailor it to each community and where they're at and what is doable for them without feeling like the constraint of I've got to do it like everybody else. So I think that's one of the gifts of this thing. But we're super excited, right? Just like even as we're seeing this desire for prayer bubbling up in the conversations we're having with people around the country, it's very, very cool. So we'll wrap up, Sam. But is there anything that you want to sort of kind of land with before we finish up, just to kind of put in people's hearts or imaginations?
Yeah, I just would encourage people, whether it doesn't matter if it's with 24/7 or not. Our agenda isn't about 24/7. Our agenda is absolutely to encourage prayer. So whatever that looks like, let's not just have the theory about being a praying people, but let's be able to point to things in the culture of our church and in the rhythms of our church that say we are a praying people. And bubbling up without a doubt all around the country is a fresh passion for prayer, particularly out of how crazy things have been the last number of years.
Yeah.
And those challenges, I think, are just an invitation from the Lord to prioritize prayer. But the fruit of prayer is what we're after. It's meeting Jesus. We believe in a God who hears and answers prayer, but also there's a dynamic that's taking place that around unity together, around prioritizing prayer that pleases the heart of God all over the scriptures. When people humble themselves and pray, unite together to do that, there's something that God releases over churches and over countries where that's the posture of the heart. And so we are, as you rightly pointed out, we're very, very excited about the engagement with the Pentecost prayer thing, but more than that, just stoked about this hunger for prayer around the place. So I would encourage people to wrestle with what their part to play is in what God is doing at the moment around New Zealand, and to prioritize prayer and to really lean in to creating a prayer culture in your local church.
Yeah, that's very cool. It's such a great opportunity to help catalyze that, hey? Awesome. Thanks for the chat. We'll see you later.
God bless you. Awesome.
Bye.